This is the private debut of a musical work. The composer is Twin Cities artist Stephen Paulus, the violist is Cynthia Phelps, and the pianist Judy Lynn. The godparents are Jack and Linda Hoeschler, whose living room is the concert hall. The Hoeschlers commissioned this piece, the fourth Paulus work they've sponsored in recent years. The Hoeschlers are a rarity. There are only a few individuals in this country who personally commission works of music, a practice that was once quite common.
Really what we're doing, though, isn't much different from what was done in medieval and Renaissance times, which is when the church would have in-house composers and have people compose pieces of music for special events. When, as you developed a bourgeois or even a royalty class who would have in-house composers who would compose music for special events.
The Hoeschlers have the trappings of bourgeois living, earned by Jack as a lawyer and Linda a corporate executive. But they consider themselves just ordinary people who happen to like music.
We don't really regard it as particularly snooty or exotic that we're doing this. It's just getting involved, really. It isn't, I think, much more exotic than that.
Getting involved takes on new meaning when applied to the Hoeschlers. So does the love of music. At their lakeside cabin just outside St. Paul, even Briggs and Stratton cannot drown out Chopin and Handel blaring out from the front porch.
Music is sort of, for me, it's I guess I'd have to say it's sort of a thread. It's a theme of my life, and it's a theme of, I think, all our lives. Our first date was to hear a Juilliard string quartet.
Jeez Louise, we've been practicing that.
Let's do it again.
Do it again.
Not surprisingly, the passion for music has been passed on to the Hoeschler offspring. Even the sibling rivalry is over music.
Kristen, you heard Tom Judy say,
Okay,
I'm the better of the two?
Let's go.
They didn't say that.
Yes, it
Okay,
did.
here we go.
The idea to commission original music first occurred to Linda Hoeschler when she worked for a local foundation that helps composers. As supporters of local musical societies, the Hoeschlers also had many professional musician friends. They decided to commission a piece to celebrate their 15th wedding anniversary about 8 years ago.
We just thought it would be nice to have a piece that our children could play when they were older.
We really had, I think, a very nice marriage. Music has been a part of our dating and certainly of our married life. And I think we wanted to do something special to celebrate it.
So for Barbara and Sherman Winthrop,
Word, isn't that
the first page of the flowers.
More commissions followed, honoring occasions and people special to the family. But the Hoeschlers say they discovered their direct form of supporting the arts was effective and much needed.
We focused our giving further there, as I said, burgeoning composers and burgeoning artists and hooking the two together. I think there are a lot of excellent composers who are out there who are so busy with their music that they have trouble advancing their career.
Commissioning a work is a direct way of providing a benefit to an artist because you're handing a composer a sum of money to simply do what they love to do best, which is creating a new work. And it also it functions in other ways in that it gives the performers a new piece of music to do, and most performers are not in the position to commission works.
Like the Hoeschlers, Stephen Paulus is also a rarity in musical circles. He earns his living solely by writing music, something one composer in 20 is able to do in this country. Composers are usually paid for each minute of music, with the price per minute based on the number of performers in the finished product. For example, an opera with a large cast could cost $500,000. A solo recital piece can be turned out for $2,500. It's not a lavish sum for work that usually takes months to compose.
It's like Haydn going to the Esterházy family, or it's a tricky business being a composer, especially if you're not attached to a university.
Bruce Carlson of the Schubert Club, which brings composers and performers together on the concert stage, says commissions help composers survive both artistically and financially.
Some of them have chosen just to be out on their own, and so they can't fall back on a salary at the university. And so every piece of music they write, that's their livelihood, and they have to have somebody paying for it.
These are the 7 poems of the 8th century Chinese poet Du Fu.
Commissioning a musical work allows the Hoeschlers, both avocational musicians, to become part of the creative process, meeting with composer and performer to discuss a piece, this one inspired by an ancient Chinese poet.
Was there anything about the poems themselves that required the order of the movements, fast, slow, fast, or was that something that you were attempting to evolve just from your sense of how a musical work ought to go together?
One of the pieces start out aggressively and to end quietly because of the nature of the poet. So let's just try the beginning few bars here.
So often composers are laboring in the wilderness and don't really get a feeling that somebody really appreciates what they're doing, at least in an intimate way. They hope for a good review, or they hope for a commission from here or there so that they can put bread on the table. But in the sense of working with them as we've done here, it gives both them and ourselves, I think, a much more intimate, warmer feeling.
We've had a very healthy relationship where sometimes even when I've had a sketch of 3 or 4 movements, I've gotten together and played a part just to keep them informed and let them know that, it actually is happening. And, sometimes, they would not say, oh, that's not a piece we like, or, oh, you're in the wrong direction, because I think they feel that's out of their domain.
We comment on what we like about a piece and what we don't like about a piece. It's sort of, I would say, gentle criticism or commentary on something that is, I think the composers find useful. They don't always necessarily agree with it, but the point simply is that it is the sort of thing that it is a two-way street.
A commission does not guarantee that the new music will be performed, but well-connected patrons like the Hoeschlers can lobby for the work. That increases the chances for performances like this at St. Paul's Landmark Center. Composer Paula says this is crucial in an age when box office pressures dictate tried and tested favorites.
The majority of music performed on programs today is music of the past. And this is the only century in which that's happened. In the past, 100 years ago, a concert was considered a failure if it didn't include 3 or 4 new works. And now many people feel that would be suicidal programming.
For their part, the Hoeschlers have formed a club, collecting a couple of $1,000s each from friends to commission more music. It's a different kind of patronage from other art forms. A commissioned painting usually hangs on a private wall. The Hoeschlers say music, on the other hand, goes out into the world, played again and again, far from their Minnesota backyard. Works they've commissioned have been performed as far away as the Soviet Union.